The movie began with Agent Argyll, who was on a dangerous mission. He came to a club to capture the terrorist woman Lagrange. He began to dance with her. Lagrange knew about his intentions. Therefore, when she whispered something in his ear, all the people around them turned with guns in their hands, pointing at Argyll. Lagrange took Argyll's gun and left the place. Argyll asked Kiara, who was sitting outside in a jeep, to help him. Kiara used her laptop to control the system of the club, and a huge amount of smoke was released in the room. Taking advantage of that smoke, Argyll escaped outside. Argyll came out and was about to sit in the black jeep with Kiara when suddenly Lagrange, who was riding a bike, came and began to shoot repeatedly at the jeep. Argyll bent down and was able to save himself, but Kiara was injured. Lagrange waved goodbye and left. Agent Argyll wanted to follow Lagrange, but he could not leave Kiara injured. However, the director of the division, Ritter, ordered Agent Argyll to follow Lagrange. Argyll looked at the tire of the jeep, which was punctured, so he looked around, saw a yellow jeep, and decided to take it. He began to ride that yellow jeep over the roofs and on the roads recklessly to reach and catch Lagrange, but she was far ahead of him and was going at a very fast speed. Agent Argyll called his fellow agent Wyatt and told him that Lagrange was coming his way. Agent Wyatt was a big, sturdy man who stood near the road, and when Lagrange was riding through, he grabbed her from the back and pulled her off the bike. After capturing Lagrange, they seated her beside them and asked questions about her boss. Lagrange told them that her boss was the same as her and revealed that Ritter was their real enemy. After that, Lagrange took the poison hidden in her necklace and died. Ritter heard everything and told Agent Argyll and Wyatt to come back through the comms, but they realized the betrayal of their agency and put their comms in the tea. Argyll and Wyatt decided to hide for some time because they knew that the director was coming after them. Actually, this was the story written by the novelist Ellie. She was telling the story in the conference room. She also said that she was writing the 5th book on her favorite character, Argyll. When she reached home at night, she continued writing the story. Agent Argyll came to know about the silver drive, which contained enough proof to get the director arrested, but the hacker wanted a lot of money. Argyll met the hacker's partner on a cruise and handed her a suitcase with 3 gold bars. In return, she gave him a mobile phone and told him to go to London, where her partner, the hacker, would contact him on that phone. Ellie ended her 5th book about Agent Argyll here. But her mother called her and told her that it was not the ending, and insisted she write another chapter to finish the book. At night, she again started to write but could not think of anything, so she decided to go to her parents' home. She took her cat and boarded a train. While boarding, she received a call from her mother, to whom she was telling her secret agent story, when suddenly a man named Aiden sat in front of her. Ellie told him that it was not his seat. But Aiden continued and began to interact with Ellie, saying that she should not keep her cat in a bag and should free the animal. Aiden then took out the Argyll novel and began to read it. After some time, he realized that Ellie was the writer of that novel, and he began to praise her. Aiden told Ellie that he was a secret agent and that her life was in danger, as she was surrounded by enemies who could attack her at any time. Ellie ignored him until suddenly a fan came to take her autograph. When the man took out a pen, Aiden suddenly grabbed it. The pen was actually an injection. Aiden began to fight the man. The man then pulled out a gun, but Aiden snatched it from him. Ellie was watching them fight, and she could see the reflection of Argyll in Aiden. Aiden grabbed Ellie and jumped out of the train, opening a parachute as the train was passing over a bridge. When she opened her eyes, she found herself in Aiden's house. She saw Aiden coming out of her room, now clean-shaven. Ellie became afraid. Aiden told Ellie that every character she had written in her novel was real. He showed her footage of her house where agents were investigating. The director of the division, Ritter, had killed his own deputy director for failing to capture Ellie from Aiden. Aiden explained that he went to the IT master in London to get the master file, but the hacker did not come to the decided spot. He told Ellie that the whole division agency was trying to locate the hacker, but only she knew where the hacker was, and that was why the director was after her. Ellie was very confused and hesitant, and she told Aiden that she did not know about the hacker. Aiden told her to write the next chapter so they would be able to find out where the hacker was. Ellie replied that when she had to write a new chapter, it usually took her months, as she researched the characters, studied the maps, and even visited the areas she wanted to describe in her story. Aiden then arranged a private jet to take Ellie to London so she could write the next chapter. While they were on the plane, Ellie began to panic because she had never flown in a private jet. To calm her and distract her, Aiden told her about an old mission of his life, in which he had to jump from a high mountain, which eased her fear. After reaching London, Aiden took her to a spot where there was a chance to meet the hacker. Once they arrived, they sat around a table in a park. The director of the division hacked the camera near their table and began listening to their conversation through digital audio recordings. Aiden told Ellie to write her story quickly because the director was very close to them. Ellie began to write that when the hacker did not come to meet Argyll, Wyatt and Argyll opened the phone that the hacker's partner had given him. They found an expensive chip hidden in the cheap flip phone. Argyll realized that the hacker must have been giving them a hint through the chip to find him. This chip could be used to access the hacker's satellite, but Aiden had already thrown the phone away, so they needed to get the list of all the satellites in the United Kingdom to search for the hacker's satellite. Ritter also heard this and ordered his men to get the list of satellites in the United Kingdom, so they had to check the nearest satellite location. They realized that according to this location, the hacker must be at Coburg Street. They reached the house of the hacker and began to look around. Aiden looked at the floor and discovered that there was something below it, so he removed the wooden planks and found a suitcase hidden underneath. When they opened the suitcase, they found a boat key and a book filled with the hacker's codes. Meanwhile, the director also got the location and sent his men there. Before they entered the room, Ellie and Aiden hid under the floor. The men of the division began to search, but they could not find them. Suddenly, because of the sound of Ellie's cat, they suspected someone was hiding. Aiden jumped out and began to shoot at them, defeating them. Afterward, he and Ellie reached the roof. There was a boat waiting down in the sea. Aiden told Ellie that they had to jump from the roof onto the sheets, but Ellie was afraid. To encourage her, Aiden threw her cat first, and she followed, landing safely on the sheets. After that, they rowed the boat and began to escape. They stayed at a hotel to spend the night. Ellie was trying to remember everything, while Aiden was trying to read and decode the hacker's book. Afterward, when Ellie went outside, Aiden entered the washroom and called his boss, Alfie. He told Alfie that Ellie had not suspected him, that she was getting on his nerves, and that they should have shot her to death. Ellie overheard this conversation. She took the diary and her cat, ran from there, and called her mother, who told her to meet her in a hotel in London. In the morning, Ellie reached the hotel. Her mother began to ask her questions. Then her father entered the room, who was none other than the director. Ellie told her father that her stories were becoming real, and that a director was after her to get a secret file. She showed the codebook to her father, and he took pictures of every page using his glasses. At the same time, Aiden arrived, pointing his gun at her parents. He then moved the gun to the head of the director and told Ellie that these were not her real parents. The director then revealed her true identity. At that moment, Ellie's mother took out a gun, pointed it at Ellie's head, and grabbed her. Aiden got the chance to shoot Dr. Vogler, then hit the director to knock him unconscious, and took the codebook. Both of them escaped from the hotel and drove away in a car. Ellie had to leave her cat behind, and she could not understand what was happening. She began to cry in the car and eventually fell asleep. When she opened her eyes, they were traveling to a farmhouse in France, where Aiden had brought her. There, she met Aiden's boss, Alfie, who was the deputy chief of the CIA. Alfie took Ellie inside and showed her some pictures of an agent. Ellie was shocked to see that the pictures were of her. Alfie told her that her real name was Rachel Kyle. She could not believe it and ran outside, shouting at Aiden, who was waiting for her. Ellie tried to prove to him that she was only a normal novelist. To prove her wrong, Aiden attacked her, telling her to show how fast she truly was. To her surprise, Ellie was able to dodge his attack and even strike back. Meanwhile, the director and Alfie were working to decode the hacker's book. Aiden then told Ellie the truth that she was the one who had gone to meet the hacker but never returned. She was the real Argyle in her stories. Aiden explained that they only found her unconscious near a river, and that when she woke up, she had lost all her memories. The director of the division had then manipulated her mind. He chose Dr. Vogler to pose as her mother, and he himself acted as her father. They brought her things and created a false life for her, telling her that she had been an ice skater who fell on the ice, which caused her coma. They also gave her a notebook to write stories, and that was how she began writing novels. In reality, they were trying to extract information about the master file from her writing, and in her 5th book, she was about to reveal the crucial information they wanted. Aiden told her that he had been protecting her for 5 years. He also revealed that he was not Argyll but Wyatt, Argyll's partner in her novels. Suddenly, Alfie came out, excitedly announcing that the code had been cracked. The files had been given to an agent named Saba, who was renowned for keeping secrets safe. Saba would only deliver the files directly to Ellie. Ellie became nervous and said that she could not handle such a task because she suffered from nervousness and panic attacks. But Alfie reminded her that the division had built her this way and told her she needed to show courage because Saba would hand over the files only to her. Aiden took Ellie to meet Saba. There they danced together, and Aiden told Ellie that he liked her. Saba was watching them. She then called for Ellie. At first, Ellie was afraid, but she gathered her courage and confidently asked about the file. Saba moved to a wall with an eye scanner. After her eyes were scanned, the door opened and she took out a case, handing it over to Ellie. Ellie opened the case and found a silver bullet. Then she used Saba's laptop to look at the file. Ellie was stunned by what she saw. She went to Wyatt to hand him the silver bullet, but Dr. Vogler arrived with her men. Dr. Vogler revealed that when Aiden shot her earlier, she had been wearing a bulletproof jacket. Dr. Vogler handed them tea, which they drank after she did. She then told Ellie to remember how she ended up in the river and who killed the hacker. Ellie recalled that she was the one who had killed the hacker and then jumped into the river because the room had been set to self-destruct. She realized that she had been the top agent of the division, and her information was also inside the master file. Ellie was stunned, and Aiden was equally shocked to hear it. There had been sleeping pills in the tea. Because of the drug, Ellie and Aiden became unconscious. When Ellie woke up, she was in the division's control tower, lying on a sofa. The director entered and asked her for Alfie's address. Ellie calmly told him that she did not know because she had been asleep when Aiden took her to Alfie. The director told her that they had been torturing Aiden, but he still refused to speak. Ellie asked the director to take her to Aiden, claiming she knew how to make him talk. When brought to Aiden, she asked him for Alfie's address. Aiden refused, so she fired a gun at him. The director was shocked. Ellie then took the locket from around Aiden's neck, saying it was a tracker. The director asked her how they could find Alfie's address now. Ellie told him to give her access to the system so she could locate him. She attempted to use the system to trace Alfie through a car plate number and send him the master file, but access was denied, and she failed. Ellie had now regained all her memories. After that, she made both the director and Dr. Vogler unconscious and ran away with her cat. When the director regained consciousness, he immediately triggered a high alert alarm. Soon after, Aiden also woke up. In order to survive, he fought off the guards and injected himself with medicine to prevent heart failure. Meanwhile, Ellie reached the weapons room and gathered weapons. Suddenly, Aiden entered and pointed a gun at her. Ellie tried to make him understand that she had shot him in the vascular corridor near the heart, about 2 inches above it, so the bleeding would stop. Aiden realized that Ellie had done it to save him. At the same time, the director ordered his men to kill both Aiden and Ellie. They surrounded the weapons room. Suddenly, colored smoke began to fill the room, and Ellie and Aiden used it to their advantage, shooting down the guards while releasing more smoke bombs to increase cover. They hid behind a machine, and Ellie shot at the oil pipes, causing oil to spread across the floor. Because of the oil, it became difficult to stand or fire weapons. Ellie then remembered her ice skating skills. She strapped 2 knives to the bottoms of her shoes and began to skate on the oil while firing her gun to defeat enemies. The director ordered his men to open fire, but before they could, Ellie spun around, shot at them, and killed them. After that, Ellie and Aiden reached the server room and tried to send the file. However, Ellie realized that they needed the writer's eye scan to complete the transfer. At that moment, the writer appeared, holding a gun and aiming it at them. Suddenly, Ellie's cat leaped at the director and scratched his eyes, giving them a chance. Ellie quickly found another way to send the files. She and Aiden went to the roof and managed to transmit the file to Alfie. It was then that they discovered they were not on top of a building, but on a ship in the middle of the sea. While the file was uploading and transferring to Alfie, Dr. Vogler arrived and began once again to manipulate Ellie's mind. Ellie fell under her hypnosis and attacked Aiden. Just then, Kiara, disguised as a worker, appeared and struck Dr. Vogler on the head. The dancing doll she had been using to hypnotize Ellie fell to the ground and broke. When Ellie regained her consciousness, she was overjoyed to see Kiara alive. Ellie asked Kiara how she had survived. Kiara explained that she had been the one who suggested the idea of the vascular corridor, as no one had more experience than her. She revealed that she had been working in the division for 5 years. Meanwhile, Alfie successfully downloaded the complete file and finally had the proof to destroy the division. On the other side, Ellie, Aiden, and Kiara boarded a small ship and used a bomb to blow up the director's vessel. This was how the entire directorate was destroyed. Ellie later imagined herself once again as the character in her novels that she was Agent Argyll and Aiden was Agent Wyatt. That was how she wrote the ending of her 5th book and released it to the world. To arrest every member of the directorate, Alfie was honored with a medal from the CIA. Kiara earned a fortune from her technological expertise. Aiden and Ellie remained partners for life. The movie ended with a press conference in which a man stood up and asked Ellie a question. Ellie froze in shock, because his face, his voice, and his entire presence were exactly like Argyle, the man she had imagined in her novel.